Hey guys, welcome to my channel. For today's video, I have the mini Norvina ABH Volume 2 palette. I already did a tutorial on the mini Norvina Volume 1 palette. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and check that out. I'm very excited to get into this Volume 2 palette. I did really like the performance of the Volume 1 palette. That one has more purple tones in it, whereas this one, as you can see, has some more warm tones to it. I am going to swatch this and do a look with it. I will leave timestamps down below in the description box in case you just want to go ahead and skip ahead to the actual eye look and skip the swatches. Let's go ahead and start swatching the palette. Also, I did want to mention that if you are new here, hello, my name is Emily. I do a lot of beauty related content on my channel, so if you're into that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Here are the swatches. Sorry, they're kind of at an angle that was not intentional. I'm not the best at doing swatches. If you're new here, sorry. But here are the swatches. You can see they're pretty pigmented. I'm very excited to work with this color story a lot. I don't know for sure if I'm going to be using all 9 colors today, but I definitely will be using the majority of them. So you can see all the colors. So I started with the yellow and then I just went horizontally. So you can see all these different colors. I'm very excited about this purpley shade. I think that's really, really pretty. I'm gonna go ahead, pull my hair back and prep my eyes, and let's get started. Okay guys, so my hair is nice and pulled back. We're gonna get into this palette. If you've been watching some of my tutorials, you probably know the brushes that I'm going to use. I pretty much always use the same ones. I don't have a lot of brushes. Here is our palette. I'm thinking a nice sunset look for today. We're gonna go into the light orange shade that's up here at the top, and this is gonna be our crease shade. I'm just putting this on a fluffy crease brush. This is the SL Miss Glam brush. Any fluffy crease brush will work. And I have to say, I think this is not a popular opinion, but I personally feel as though these ABH shadows perform just as well as Natasha Denona shadows. I know there will probably be people that might comment that they definitely disagree with me, but in my opinion, I think that these are just as good quality and they are significantly cheaper. I mean, they're still like $60 for a full-size ABH palette, but a full-size Natasha Denona palette's like $129. Comparatively, I think you get just as good quality with the ABH one. That's just my personal opinion. You may have a different one. And I'm just dipping back in and just darkening up that crease a little bit. So this is the lighter orange shade that's in it. This is, I believe, A1. Definitely hit your brush off because they do have quite a bit of kick up. Now, again, this is the first time I'm using the palette, so it could be that. Usually new palettes do have a little bit more kick up. So I think this is what I'm gonna do for the first color for the crease shade. So I think this is what I'm gonna do for the first color for the crease shade. I'm gonna go ahead, do the other eye, and then we'll go into the next color. Okay guys, now we're gonna go into the next shade. I think the next shade I wanna go into is this top yellow shade. That is A3, and this is also going to go in the crease as well with the orange shade, and this is just to give it a nice sunset look, and I want to kind of ombre it. So I'm just laying the yellow down, and I think I like how that looks, so I'm just gonna go ahead, do that to the other eye, and then we'll go into the next color. So I'm back and we have both eyes done, so let me get close so you guys can see it. All right, so as you can see, I have the yellow and the orange. They're kind of ombre together right now. I am liking how that looks. I like it. I kind of want to do a really nice sunset eye look today, so I am hoping to achieve that with this palette. I think the colors in it really warrant a nice sunset look, so I am excited to get into it. Okay, so for the next color that we're going to go into, we're going to go into this bright, vibrant orange right here. And you might be thinking, why didn't you do the yellow, then the orange? That would have made more sense when I was originally doing it. Well, I didn't think that far ahead, so that's why. I'm using this Firma brush. You can just use any crease brush. This one is a little bit more tapered and a little bit less fluffy than the SL Miss Glam brush I was using, so that's why I'm using it, because it just is a bit more precise. You can still use a brush like this. You're just gonna have to be careful, and you're gonna want to only tap part of the brush in there and not get the brush fully pigmented, if that makes sense. But definitely using one of these brushes is a lot easier. So we're just gonna tap it, as you can see, at the outer portion of the lid, and I'm tapping it up. And then we're gonna take this brush and we're going to blend in towards the crease. And this is just to darken up. I use this technique a lot. We're just going to blend in. That looks pretty good. Okay, All right, so now I'm gonna do the other eye and then I'll show you guys more up close how it looks, and then we'll get into the next color. So let's get up close now that I have both on. You can see the gradient. So basically what I did was I just wanted to darken up the crease so we could get more of a gradient going on. I'm just kind of figuring this out as I go. Next, I'm gonna go into a purple shade, so we'll see how that turns out. I'm gonna take the firmer brush again, and I'm actually gonna go into this dark brown shade. So we're going into the brown, and that's the bottom shade. We're going to also put this on the outer portion of the eye and just dab it. And then again, we're gonna blend into the crease. Now, as you can see, this one is getting blended a little bit higher than the orange shade did. That is on purpose. Again, I'm trying to create an ombre, so I'm just going to put that on. I am going very lightly into the brown shade. I don't want it to be too pigmented. I just want it to add a little bit more depth, and I don't want to have any too harsh of lines. At the end of this, I'm gonna blend out some of the lines that you're kind of seeing right now with the eye look, just blending up kind of above the natural crease and closer to the brow bone is what I'm trying to do right now. Okay, so that is all blended. Right now there is a little bit more of a line. I'm gonna blend that out a little bit more at the end so it's not quite as harsh as it looks right at this moment. So I think the next thing I'm gonna do is go into the purple shade over here. I'm gonna use this little Bow Goss brush, and I'm gonna use this and put it again at this outer portion, but I want to smoke it into the lower lash line. First, I'm going to put it by the lower lash line because I just picked up the pigment and that's where it's going to be a little bit more intense. Also, if you're wondering where I'm looking in a mirror. I want this to be a little bit more intense underneath the lower lash line than I do at the edge of the eyes, which is why I'm choosing to pack it underneath the lash line first, because when you first pick up, that is when you're going to get the most pigment on your brush. So if you don't want that particular part to be super intense, you're going to want to put it where you want the pigment to be a little bit more intense, or you're going to want to go in really light-handed if you don't want it intense at all. So as you can see, I just laid that down. I probably can use some of this pigment on this eye, but real quick before I do that, I'm going to take that firmer brush again. And as you can see, what I was doing is I laid this again on the outer portion, and so I don't want that to just be a line there, so I'm just going to use this and smudge it in with the rest of the colors that have already been laid down. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other eye. Okay guys, so as you can see, I brought it in just a little bit further on the lower lash line. That was just because I'm gonna put another color there and we're gonna blend those two colors together. So I think next what I'm gonna do is actually go into this darker turquoise shade with the same brush I just used, and I'm just going to put this on the inner portion of the lower lash line. Go in very light-handed because we don't want to have too much pigment of this particular shade since it's going closer to the inner corner, and I just want to blend the two lower lash line shades together. Okay, and I'm going to take this Complex Culture brush real quick, and I'm just going to again blend underneath the eyes. The next thing we're going to do is pick up the middle green shade, and we're going to put it right here next to where we were doing the little ombre before. And we're just tapping it. I'm basically stippling it onto my eyelid. Before I had this like orange gradient, and we're gonna put this green here. And I think that's just gonna lighten the eye look nicely, right? And I'm just gonna do the same exact thing to the other eye. I'm just going to stipple it right here in the center. It's kind of being stippled in a little bit further than that orange shade that we went in with. The next thing I'm gonna do is, again, I'm gonna go into the palette and I'm gonna take the green shimmery shade with the Complex Culture brush. That is going to go on the most inner portion of the eyelid. I am going to put the glitter a little bit in the crease. As you can see, I'm kind of stippling it on and then I'm pushing it into the crease. Again, just picking that up and pressing it on with the brush. And probably it looks like I'm gonna have to go in with my finger in a second. So let me real quick do this to the other eye and then I'll go in with my finger. All right, so you guys can see that I took some of that glitter and put it into the crease like I said. So now I'm gonna take my finger with that same green shade and I'm going to tap it right there. And a little bit is going to get on the lower lash line. That's fine. I don't mind that. If that bothers you, then just be careful. Nothing has to be perfect. It's makeup. It's all going to wash off at the end of the day. Okay, now I'm going to take that firmer brush and I'm going to blend this portion And I'm actually gonna blend this glitter down just a tiny bit. And now I'm gonna go into the only shade I haven't used yet, and that is the Center Gold shade. And we're going to use that as a highlighter shade, I hope. I'm hoping that it's light enough to be a highlighter shade. If it's not, well, oh well. So I'm gonna take this and I'm going to stick this directly into the inner corners. As you guys can see, I'm using that Bow Goss brush and I'm just blending it in right here. And then picking that up and doing the same thing on this side. All right, and then I'm gonna pick that gold shade back up again with that brush, and I'm gonna do a brow bone highlight right underneath the brow bone. I want it up against the brows. And then I'm also going to pull it in a little bit into the inner portion of the eye. So just see that. If you guys would be interested in me doing a get ready with me, let me know down in the comments below. Then I would like actually just talk and not tell you every single step that I'm doing. I could tell you guys a story or something. So I'm looking at the eyes, and I think what I want to do is just add one more color down here. I'm actually gonna take a little bit of the orange shade again, and I'm just gonna tap it at the center of where the green and the purple combine. And I'm picking up very little pigment. Like I literally just and pick up as little pigment as possible. All right, so now I'm gonna take that firmer brush again. You could use the other crease brush. Like I said, you just need a fluffier brush. We're going to blend out any harsh lines that are currently on my eyes. Go down here, just trying to blend out as much as possible. Okay, so I really like how the eyes look. I'll be right back and then we'll get to our final thoughts about the palette. All right guys, I am back. Here is the final eye look. I did put on the Thrive Cosmetics liner in the shade Lawrence, and I also used the Thrive Cosmetics mascara. This is my all-time holy grail favorite mascara. So let's look closely at the eyes. All right guys, so I am sitting nice and close to you all. Here is the final eye look. Don't mind that my mascara got there. I am super happy with it. I think it looks really, really pretty with the sunset. You wouldn't even necessarily need to use every single shade to accomplish a sunset eye with this. I just chose to. Those are the tops of the eyes. Then we have the underneath part. They blended very easily. They come off very pigmented. I definitely say if you want something a little bit less pigmented, you want to dip your brush very lightly, like almost tap your brush into the palette, because they are just so stinking pigmented, which I really like, but some people I know like something a little bit more buildable. If you like something more buildable, it might not be the palette for you. Like I said, really happy with the palette. Think it performed really well. Real quickly, you guys probably noticed I didn't put anything on my lips. I did want to show off the Fenty Gloss that I got in the same Sephora order. Real quick, I'm going to line my lips with the Becca lip liner. This is in the shade Vacation. Okay, and I will just top it off with the gloss. This is in the shade Fussy. Okay guys, so that is officially the final look with the lips overall. With the palette, like I said before, really happy with how the shadows performed. I like things that go on very pigmented. They blend out beautifully. And then the gloss that I just tried on, as far as that goes, this is a very comfortable gloss, I must say. I'm very picky when it comes to my glosses. I don't like anything too sticky. This isn't actually sticky at all. I think it's just the right amount of pigmentation without being too pigmented. I don't like super pigmented glosses, but I also don't like completely sheer ones typically. So really happy with how that looks, and I think it definitely ties the whole look together. Let me know down in the comments below what your opinion is of the palette and even the Fenty Gloss, if you have tried them, if you are planning on picking them up. This was, at the time of me filming this, still available on Sephora's website for $14.50. If it's out of stock, I'll put it down in the description box below. I will wear this for a few hours and put a wear test for the palette down in the description box below in case you are interested in that. This is the final look. I'm super happy with how everything turned out. So like I said before, let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the palette. But don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button if you're into beauty related content. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a good one.